This is so exciting. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Cyber Monday. Happy, is anyone else still feeling kind of full from last Thursday's US
Yes.
Thanksgiving? Yeah, me too. So I've got with me a whole panel of authors, more than usual, you might notice, because I was trying to feature as many of the authors in the Kindle Flash Sale as I could. I'm actually doing 6 live streams this week to highlight some of the books. It's not even all the books. There are 56 books included in this campaign that ends on Thursday. So between today, Cyber Monday, and Thursday, the 4th of December, you will have access to 56 books for 99 cents, or occasionally $1.99 a piece as a Kindle book. And so I've got with me 4 of the authors for this particular campaign, and I'm going to give each of them a chance to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about the book that they included and who the ideal reader is for that book. So let's kick this off with Jennifer. Jennifer Ledet, welcome and thanks for being here.
Hi, Robbie. Thanks for having me, for doing this flash sale. I'm excited to be here. I'm Jennifer Ledet, and my book is Live and Lead by Choice, Not by Chance. Flourish at any age, stage, and season of life. So this is a book that I wrote, and honestly, I felt like I got that divine tap on the shoulder telling me to do this, and so I did. And really, it's about it's a lot of the tools that I use with my coaching clients, and specifically, I was thinking of women who have been, climbing that ladder of success. They get to the top and only to realize that the ladder's been leaning against the wrong wall the whole time. So they kind of disillusioned and definitely feeling unfulfilled. And it's also for those who just want to be a lot more intentional in how they live this one wild, crazy life that we're given. And so a lot of men have actually messaged me saying that it's not just for women; they got a lot out of it too.
That's
So
awesome. You know, I'm going to change the order up a little bit from what I told you we were going to do, because I think, Carol, I need you to follow up that because your books are so complementary. So, Carol Enneking, let us know about the book that you wrote.
Yeah, thank you. My book is, I'm Carol Enneking, hello. And my book is The Rebalancing Act, Wisdom from Working Women for Success That Matters. And it is similar to what Jennifer said. I think we're speaking to a very big audience of women who are burned out and exhausted. And even though we've had wonderful trailblazers who have opened these doors so that we can do lots of different things, it doesn't mean we should try to do it all. And we're exhausting ourselves in the pursuit of having, doing, and being it all. And we're not even stopping long enough necessarily to define what it even is. And so my book is about the wisdom I learned myself, and also interviewing over 70 women and men who have either sought to try to figure this out or have great success and have figured it out and have some great advice to share. And so what are the traps we run into, and how do we get past those so that we can focus on what matters most and learn to let the other stuff go, because it is exhausting, and it very well it could be that our lives depend on it. Mine certainly did, and that's part of my story. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I managed to do my best based on everyone's availability to pair people. And you're going to find, Diane and Antonio, that you two also have some things in common. The book that I have 4 books in the campaigns. The book of mine that I want to mention after hearing from Jennifer and Carol is Small List, Big Results. Launch a successful offer no matter the size of your email list, because it was written for entrepreneurial women in their 50s and beyond who are looking to grow their impact and income through some kind of new revenue stream. And the reason that's the market is they found me, honestly. Like, the story is that they kept showing up based on how I was talking about the work I was doing. But I love it because they have so much knowledge. They're at this point in their career of 20, 30 or more years of offering value into the world, building an incredible network. And suddenly they're at a juncture where they're trying things that they feel like a novice. And it's awkward to be a novice after 50 when you haven't been a novice for a long time. You're used to being a professional and an expert. So this is a book that really kind of walks through and acknowledges that while trying to get you on the right track for whatever business idea you have. So thank you, Jennifer and Carol, for being here. Diane, DiResta, let's bring you in to talk about the book that you have that you contributed to this campaign, and welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, Robbie. My book is Knockout Presentations. My name is Diane DiResta, and it's Knockout Presentations, How to Deliver Your Message with Power, Punch, and Pizzazz. And what's interesting about this book is it's targeted for the business professional, for people in the workplace who either deliver presentations or will be. But actually, over the years, I've realized you don't even have to be a person who does public speaking, because the tools and the tips and the techniques apply even to one-on-one and to meetings. But it has a very wide breadth. It's been used as a textbook in colleges, and it's been read in the C-suite. In fact, I've had CEOs say they were on the plane highlighting things. So it deals with everything from soup to nuts. And I wrote it as a seminar in a book. And I think this is what's unique and why colleges like it, because it's not theory. I give you the tips. So we talk about the myths, the mistakes speakers make, how to organize a talk. And I actually give you the templates. And I've had people say that they develop their keynote based on what they read. We talk about fear fixes. It's a whole chapter. How to research your audience. There's so many things. Staging. So it really delves into everything you need to know to be an effective speaker.
I love this. And Tony, we're going to bring you in to share about your book.
Yes, my book is titled Empower Your Presentation Skills. Very similar to Diane. This is my first book. And the reason I did this book, I had been taking so many courses. I've been a Toastmasters for 30 years. And when I retired, I decided that I would pursue becoming a speaking coach. And I went and studied as many presentation and speaking courses as possible. And then just recently, last year, I decided that I would write a book, not only for the reason of helping others to improve their presentation skills and to also control their fear of public speaking. So those are the areas that I cover there. And one of the reasons that I did it was because I wanted to leave a legacy for my kids. I've given so many speeches in Toastmasters. There's many stories there that I have about my upbringing, where I was and where I am right now. And I wanted to leave that legacy in a way that would be effective also to the book. So the tools that I have there are supported by the evidence on the stories that I have. I have a chapter there about exclusively storytelling, and that's where most of the
Thank you.
things flow. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, the book of mine that relates to those two books is a book I wrote about Zoom, because I went from focused on in-person networking as my driver for what I was doing in business to not being able to do that because of the pandemic. And I became a virtual event design consultant and an executive Zoom producer. And on the third anniversary of my first virtual happy hour, which was March 13th, 2020, I shared that knowledge in a book called Break Out of Boredom, Low-Tech Solutions for Highly Engaging Zoom Events, which there's strategies that can be on any platform, and many of them play for in-person as well. It's really understanding the purpose first design. Why are you gathering people? What are you hoping the outcome will be? And understanding whatever the technology is that you're interfacing with so that you're using it correctly. So that complements those two books really well. And I'm glad those listening who are speaking on their topics can now feel a little more confident knowing these resources are out there. I want to come back over to Diane. Diane, you have had a couple of books out there in the world. So I know you understand the idea of marketing your book. You can't just like put it up for sale and, fingers crossed. What was your decision around participating in a Kindle Flash Sale? Like, how does this fit into your overall marketing plan?
Oh, it was a godsend. First of all, when I thought of the book, when I was first writing it, I came to the realization once it was published that that's the easy part. And I'm not a natural writer, but that's like giving birth but the marketing is like child rearing. It goes on forever. And, even when I'm not a parent, but parents will tell me even when their kids are in their 20s and 30s, you never stop being a parent. So that's what it's like marketing a book. So when I saw that you were doing this flash sale, I jumped on it because I know you, Robbie. I knew you were the best of the best. And the idea of collaborating with other people, I thought was a great way of getting the word out and having greater reach. But also it's an opportunity for me to find these books for myself. And I've already read 2 and given 2 reviews last night. So as far as marketing, speaking is a great way to market the book. I try to mention that when I'm speaking, doing social media posts, doing interviews like this or podcasts. It's just anything to do with getting the word out.
Awesome. Thank you. Jennifer, same question to you. You also have the benefit of having done this with other books. So how does the Kindle Flash Sale sort of fit into the overall plan?
Yeah, well, Diane, that was a great analogy. Marketing the book doesn't just come naturally, even if you're a natural born writer. At least for me, it doesn't come naturally. So my mission with this book was to get it in as many hands as possible. Quite honestly, I wrote my first book and it was a full 12 years between publishing dates. And the first book, I'm still selling it as part of my programs when I speak or lead workshops and retreats with client teams. But the second book, I was determined to do way more marketing than I'd done with the first one. And this was a great opportunity. I've always been an avid reader. Okay, let's be honest, I'm addicted. It's my drug of choice. And so I'm more than happy to get with other authors because like Diane, I'm enjoying picking up all these books and filling up my Kindle library and also sharing with other people, hey, this is a good read. You need to check it out. I just think that when we can do things to support one another, some way more fun and it lifts everybody up. So this was a great extension of my marketing because, like I said, I'm speaking at conferences and having the conference organizers buy a copy of the book for everyone in the audience or get sponsors. So again, it's really fulfilling my mission of getting it in as many hands as possible. So I really appreciate you doing this.
I am an avid reader, although I really should say I'm an avid listener of books. And one thing I learned by running these campaigns the last 2 years is that you can listen to a Kindle book through, I use Speechify, which I pay for, but you can even do it through the Alexa app, the Amazon Alexa app. And there's a few other like listening options out there. It's not as smooth of an experience as an audiobook would be, but for 99 cents, knowing that I can listen to it in the car when I'm driving around, like it's been great. So that's how I've gotten through quite a few of the books over the years, because my Kindle pile next to my bed, is just very high, and so I needed to find a way to move through it. Antonio, how did you arrive at the decision to be part of this Kindle Flash Sale?
When I finally published my book, my editor suggested that I do this. And so I didn't know anything about you, and I started investigating who you were, and I definitely decided to go with this because I knew that I couldn't do this on my own. I've been doing some promotions, been invited to some podcasts and things like that. So there is some promotion there, but there is nothing compared to this type of promotions that we'll be having with 50 plus authors and their audiences. Yeah. So the reach that we will have, the growth in the reach will be exponential. And that's fantastic. I'm excited about it, and I'm just looking forward to staying on this and even do more as I can.
Well, good news for you, Antonio, and everyone else listening is that I do organize this 3 times a year. April, July, and Cyber Monday are the 3 times a year. Carol, you've been part of this before, and I have a different kind of question to you, which I hope you can answer because you've done this before. But I've had some, I would say, pushback from some authors who are hearing about the campaign. They're like, drop my price to 99 cents. And these are people who probably just published and they're still sweating the, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get to that point where you have a book. So why are you comfortable with the 99-cent Kindle part of this, as well as like the marketing and reach?
Yeah, well, I think it's everything that everyone has said in terms of being part of something bigger. Getting your book in the hands of more people is always a good thing. And that's my goal. My mission is to spread my message. And yes, it's nice to sell books, but I never got into this to get rich off a book. And it's funny. I think people think that we're going to all just make a ton of money marketing a book. And that's not necessarily what writing a book does for you. It's what goes with the book that helps you make your mark on the world. So that's one piece of it. And people who like hardcover books want a hardcover book. And I found not many people are that attached to hardcover books, but some are. People who want paperbacks, they'll get paperbacks. But people who like the e-reader format, like so many of us, they like to have a lot of different books and they like to not have the price point be a stopping point for them. So one of the coolest things last year for me was that one of my friends who I had interviewed for the book wanted to share it with her family. And so she ended up buying 10 of these books at 99 cents, sharing the codes, because you can do that. You can buy multiple books, share it out, and they made it their family book club book and talked about it. And I just thought that was so great. And if these were $15, $20 each, I don't know that she would have done that. And so when you consider that it's helping get your message out to more people, and your book is really your business card. It's your calling card. It's a piece of your marketing, but it's not all about the money you're going to make on the book. And when you realize that, and you realize you can be part of this, I've met the coolest authors being part of this group. And it's really fun now, a year later, being at this again. I think seeing them on LinkedIn, all these people I got connected to, it's like, oh, our books were published the same day. We're having book anniversaries together today, and because my book just turned a year old, and just seeing the success that people are having out there doing their thing, whatever that looks like, is really a cool thing. And when you are an entrepreneur, especially when you have been in corporate and been part of a team and now you're on your own, this is a cool way to get to know other people in the space and to build your network too. So I see many, many benefits. And I guess I never really hesitated too much on the 99 cents because that isn't why you do this work. If you're worried about every single sale you're going to get on Kindle at $15, you might be worried about very few sales.
Well, and Kindle makes it hard to even put your price above $9.99 because they won't let you take 70%.
Yes.
So you have to go from like $9.99 to, I think it's like $22.99 to get the same percentage because they drop the percentage down. So
lessons like that are another reason it's great to be part of events.
Yeah.
You learn so much about how to market your book and what the price points are and things like that. So, I mean, just the wisdom that you pick up being part of groups like this is well worth it. And to me, the sales are, as Jennifer, my friend in Louisiana, would probably say, lagniappe, a little something extra, right? The sales that you get are extra, but if the idea is to get your work out into the world, I can't think of a better way to do it.
That's brilliant. Antonio, I want to come back to you because this is your first book and it sounds like you've been learning this information for 30 years. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, what messages in your head, what voices in your head did you get past in order to actually create this book? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why did you wait so long knowing what you know and how you want to help others?
Yes, I didn't think I deserved to write a book. Because the voice that I have was coming from my upbringing. I was born in a rural Mexican town. And then I came here to the U.S., went to high school, went back to Mexico, and then finally came over here and did, went back to college. But even though I have those credentials, I still thought it was going to be difficult for me to write a book. And it was, I had to visualize myself being here with authors like you, and also having people come and ask me to sign my book. And I've had that every day, that people go purchase the book, and then they are very excited to go through it and apply it. And I have many Toastmasters that have been doing that right now, as well as in other areas. I do give workshops at the Mexican consulate for entrepreneurs. And that was my motivation, really, to have them take something with them. So
Yeah,
they remember.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Antonio. I mean, I also think anyone who's listening that's thinking about writing a book, they could probably relate to a lot of what you just said about those voices in their own head. And I love that you were like, you know what? And I moved forward and I did it. And I think others need to learn that they also can do that. And there's not a too late moment. It's just it's a get going moment. Jennifer, you have multiple books under your belt. So I'm curious, because you had this 12-year gap you mentioned. Did you feel differently about approaching the second book because you'd already proven to yourself that you could be an author? Were there different metrics that you were going to measure for the second book, knowing what you knew from the first? Obviously, you made a change about the marketing plan. Tell us a little bit about how mindset can shift from one book to another.
Yeah, I was speaking to a different audience in a way. My first book was titled Lead, Follow, or Get Me the Hot Sauce, Cajun Wisdom to Spice Up Your Leadership. And so, like I said, I'm still using that book and selling that book today, but this was more focused on the whole person. And so it was kind of a little bit different. I was much more open and vulnerable in this book, and I kind of had a little vulnerability hangover, if I'm really honest about it. I still have people that stop me and, kind of elbow me in the ribs about some of the stories that I told them and told in the book and things like that. So this was a leaning in even more to my own voice. And that was, in the first book I did that, but in this book I really leaned into it. And at one point I was kind of like, you get in that messy middle, and I was just kind of plodding along, and I realized that I was plodding along, and I kind of set it aside. We had a lot of life happen during the writing of this book, and my sister passed away and things like that. So we had, I have no regret about obviously lifing as things were happening. But when I came back to it and I looked at the pieces and parts that I'd written when I felt like I was just kind of plodding, and I was like, done, gone. I tossed it out, and it wasn't in my own voice. And so I knew I had to go back and I did rewrite a lot in a short amount of time, because I wanted it to be in my authentic voice. So it was a completely different approach, I think, because I was much more willing to be open. I learned through speaking and working with clients that the more I let my authentic voice come through, the more people relate to me. And so if it was going to be if it was going to be successful and get the message across that I wanted to get across, I had to let it come through my authentic voice. So
it's really interesting you say this, because my first time writing a book, I had a lot of hangups about it because my prior writing experience was writing for academia, and I never liked it. And I found it really stressful. And I was like, I'm going to get, every paragraph. I mean, I literally wrote a paper where every paragraph I had a footnote, because I thought I have no original thought on this topic. So I'm not going to get caught plagiarizing. My conclusion had a footnote. Very stressful. So when I realized that I could write the way I speak and then I could write the way I show up in the world, that really changed my approach to the writing process. But when people say, like, I read your book and I can hear you, like, that's a real compliment. And I
That's
think
a
it comes across
compliment.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Carol, we've talked a bit over time from the last time to this time around the importance of reviews and the metrics that matter versus the vanity metrics, and like you've learned a lot, right? Because I don't just get people on a campaign website. I do a lot of education with authors. So I'm curious, because your book's now hitting a year. What were the metrics that mattered to you when you started writing the book before you knew anything? What did you think was going to be important to measure? And what a year later do you actually see as being important to measure?
That's so funny because, excuse me, when I first started, I laughed and said, I don't know if I'll sell 5 books. I guess I had no expectations, but if I did have them, they were very low. But I knew I wanted to write it. I knew I wanted to tell my story and I wanted to tell other women's stories. So initially, I guess the thought was, I wonder if anybody will buy the book. And then I was amazed and surprised that so many people did. And I know how much reviews matter and how much they help promote your book to others. And that's been a steady climb for me and a bit of a struggle in this event. And getting this book into the hands of more people in the world has helped with that. So I definitely look at reviews, and if it's not a 5-star review, I'm like, oh no, what did I do? And I'm laughing because I feel like one of those people at the car dealership saying, give us 5s, but because you want honesty too, but you want to feel like the book is resonating with people. Excuse me. And so I think reviews matter a lot, but I think it's more about what's the impact the book has had. When people tell me that they saw themselves in the book, or they realized something, they got hope, they got specific information that could help them live life more fulfilled. That's what I love to measure. And that's the kind of stuff that you can't get on a spreadsheet. You get that from those conversations, from being out there, from talking with people. But the number of people who've reached out to me and talk to me about things they've never talked to anybody about before. I mean, Jennifer, when you talk about being vulnerable, it was funny because as I was writing it, people were saying, are you sure you want to tell that story? Are you sure you want to go there? And in some cases, I decided, I probably don't want to go there in so much detail. But in other cases, I went there in great detail. I mean, my breast cancer battle, I went through all the detail of every, the surgery, the ramifications of it, all that kind of stuff. But the number of women that have come to me since then and said, I needed to hear this. I'm now going through this myself, and you helped me understand something that I didn't know. That to me is the true impact. And so I guess, Robbie, I don't know that I'm answering your question in terms of a measure. It's great to get the royalty checks. It's great to need to reorder more author copies because you've sold them all. That's a wonderful feeling. It's great to sell books. But the real message for me and the real metric for me is how is it resonating with people? And that's what I really live for.
That's very powerful. I mean, both of you sharing that authenticity of your lived experience is what makes people connect with your message. Diane, you have done an extraordinary job of gathering reviews. I tell authors, get a minimum of 20 written reviews. So there's the ratings, which are the global 1 through 5-star ratings. And then, which by the way, you don't have to even buy the book or write anything to leave a rating. And then there's the people who actually take the time to write something. And then there's the people who take the time to buy the book and then write something, which makes it a verified purchase review. You have 89 global ratings, and 67 of the 89 took the time to write a review. 67 people, like, that's really good, because again, I setting the bar, like, to get even 20 is important because so many books don't. And I ask my authors when I work with them on their launch strategy to aim for 50 or more, and I know what goes into that. So I know this isn't your first rodeo. What was your approach for this book to get those reviews and to keep getting them? Because I did notice that they didn't all come in like in month 1, like they're continuing. You even had 4 in the last few weeks. So how do you think about it as part of the launch, and how did you continue to think about the?
That's because you're pushing me, Robbie. So I've got those 4 already. But so Knockout Presentations is my first book and my signature book, and it's been out there a long time. It's in its 3rd edition, and that was, I think, 2017. So I've had longevity on my side. That didn't come with one campaign at all. What was helpful in the beginning is I had the publisher gave us not only in advance, but 3 months of PR. That doesn't happen anymore unless maybe you're Stephen King. So that was tremendous because I got covered in Costco magazine, in an airline magazine, Gannett Publishing. So it had a lot more traction than I could do for myself. But I asked people, and recently I looked at my reviews and I said, wait a minute, the most recent is 2024. I've got to get going, because I spend more time actually getting recommendations on LinkedIn, because those are the people who will hire me. So I said, I've got to go back and do the same for my book. So it's just being consistent, asking people for those reviews. And this is a great venue, the Kindle Flash Sale. So we're all expecting to get more reviews.
Yeah, well, so you just referenced the fact that I'm pushing you to do this. For anyone who's watching, all of the authors lowered their Kindle book price to 99 cents 2 weeks ago. And part of that was my own sanity, because I'm juggling dozens of books and I know someone's going to have trouble and I want to know who that person is so we can help them get set up in time. But for their purpose, it's that they could use those 2 weeks to try to get a few more reviews from people in their network. And I have noticed that that's happening. This is not a author-to-author exchange, because those things are not allowed by Amazon. And I say to authors, like, if you want to commit to picking 5 books that you think you'd really want to read, and you want to leave reviews for those 5 books, that's great. But it's not going to be an exact exchange where those people are going to write you reviews. And I think it's even more important for us to go not to these fellow authors, which is nice, but to our likely prospects and our referral partners within our network, because that's where you get those bulk sales or that speaking opportunity. Or like what Carol got was, someone buying books to run a book club discussion, which, by the way, if you've got discussion guide questions that you can share, contact some employee resource groups, contact HRs, you know what I mean? Like find the audiences for that. So I find that authors use these Kindle Flash Sale campaigns as a reminder to spend a little bit of time 1 to 3 times a year paying attention to the book that they spent so much time writing initially. And sometimes it gets put a little bit in the back burner when it's no longer a new book. And I get that. So I want to just welcome you all into the campaign, for those who are just starting with us this time around, and welcome back to those who are returning. That's a testament. I really appreciate the returners, because that says we're doing something right here. And for those watching, you have until Thursday. And as you may have heard, you can buy Kindle books for others. There's actually a buy for others button on the Amazon page. And by the way, you cannot buy a Kindle book from your Amazon app on your phone. You have to go to your browser in your phone or to any computer browser. And then you'll be able to buy either 1 copy or multiple copies and get the links to share out with your friends and family or clients. You can buy books for clients, and you don't even have to give them the link today. You can get the link and then give it to them closer to whichever holiday they'll be celebrating. So thank you for all for tuning in. Go to kindleflashsale.com to get all of these books. Check them out. And many, many thanks to our authors for joining us today on this panel. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Robbie.
Enjoyed it.